Today, we're going to talk to a couple that relocated from Scottsdale, Arizona to Vancouver, Washington. We're going to talk about the stark contrast between the two cities. And these clients are tell it how it is, hold no prisoners. They're really going to give you the blunt honesty of the pros and cons of what it's been like to relocate to Vancouver, Washington, now that they've lived here for just a little bit over a year. Let's get going to their home that they purchased with me just a few months ago right now. So I'm here with Rivak and Nanci. You guys moved from Scottsdale up here to Vancouver earlier this year. We're going to go over 10 different questions to help if you're watching and you're moving from Arizona or really anywhere in the Sun Belt and you're making Vancouver one of your considerations. This video is going to be one you don't want to miss. So we're going to start with what made you choose Vancouver over the entire Portland metro?
The highlight of Vancouver is the fact that it was easier for me to commute to work. I work for OHSU, so my commute from where I live here is roughly 7 miles. There's really not a lot of traffic. I don't have to deal with going over a bridge. Conversely, if I worked for OHSU in Portland, getting over the bridge during rush hour in the morning or whatever, it would be 45 minutes to an hour. So at a certain point in your life, you have to ask yourself, do I want to spend my time in my car? I did live in California at one time. I said I would never do it again. And that's the number one reason why I chose Vancouver.
I think what I like is that you're still close to a city, Portland. Let's just say you've got that, that if you need to go into a city or you have that metropolitan area. But Vancouver being, a little bit more rural maybe, because you don't have to go too far to be in farmlands and that type of thing, but you still have, the grocery stores you need and things like that. So it's a really nice mix of almost being in the country, but yet you still have the city and still suburbia around you.
Sure. What's the difference between Vancouver and Scottsdale from a lifestyle and pace?
Everything is very slow.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of a little Hawaii. If you come from back east, like Nanci and I, and you're used to having things in a New York minute, you got to pull back because everything is really slow. Nothing happens fast here.
It's almost like they legalized pot first.
Exactly. You got to take a big step backwards and then expect that. And especially when it comes to wanting things right away and dealing with DMV or getting something or exchanging or going to UPS or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very slow.
Yeah. But, I think that's just the pace of life here. I think it is a little slower. It's not, money is time, time is money type of thing where Scottsdale was.
If you look at population density out here, the population density is much less than it is in Scottsdale. You have a lot of homes, but most of your homes are on anywhere from like 7,000 to 10,000 square foot lots. They're in master plan communities around golf courses. So that's kind of like the common theme around Scottsdale, Arizona. Whereas here you have homes that are around horse farms and there's llamas across the street. And so it's more country. It reminds me a lot of where I was raised in Connecticut. So it's more of a tranquil, relaxing lifestyle. From a socioeconomic perspective, I'd say there's more middle-class, blue-collar worker here, whereas in Scottsdale, we're talking the cream of the crop. There is a lot of wealth. If you look at the neighborhoods, like our home was one of the lesser expensive ones, but different parts of the neighborhood, 1.5 to 2, and that's still ghetto. But when you go up the street, it's 4 to 10. And then there's other neighborhoods like Silverleaf, which are 25 to 55 million. So you're not going to see that in Camas.
Interestingly enough, I always think about it because in Scottsdale, you're kind of in like the Beverly Hills of the desert. So, just a good analogy is you always have to make sure you're wearing your makeup when you go to the grocery store. Whereas here in Vancouver, I think, you can look a little more down to earth when you walk around, I think. And I think, people are a little more down to earth. It's a little slower pace. They're not so, wrapped up in, what you're wearing, so to speak.
Pretentious.
Yeah, you can use that word, pretentious.
People's guard down is down a little bit more, you find?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
And this gets me into the next question, which is, are there any like hidden gems or favorite spots that you found? I mean, you just brewed me an amazing cup of Portland roasting coffee, and you said that you picked it up at Trader Joe's, which you said you also have in Scottsdale. But is there anything in Vancouver that you found that's been a really, whether it's a favorite bar or hiking trail or spot to get out?
We haven't, I don't think we've really explored that much yet to see those things. I've heard there are a lot of places like going around Lacamas Lake and all that.
Yeah.
But we haven't had that opportunity since we moved.
Have you gone to downtown the Vancouver waterfront?
Yes, we have. That's beautiful.
I know one area though we thought was really cool is we went up to Yakult where they find the
Sasquatch.
So we're like totally into Yakult. So
That's a beautiful
we thought
area.
it was a really nice area up there.
Which, Yakult, I had some clients that bought out an aerial, beautiful 1 acre property out in the forest there. And there was one time we were showing homes, and there was this thunderstorm rolling in across Pinchot Gifford Forest. And there's something, I mean, I've been to forests as well, like Jackson Hole, and obviously Oregon's got the Mount Hood National Forest. But there's something about the forest over here that has a sense of awe and mystery to it beyond any other forest.
It is beautiful.
Even compared to the Olympic National Forest. And I'm actually going to be summiting Mount St. Helens on Tuesday. So we'll insert a little clip of that because I'll be up on the summit before this video drops. Hopefully I make it back. This video doesn't upload, then that'll be a sign I didn't make it back.
We'll see.
So what's the cost of living? You said that Scottsdale is very hoity-toity, new money. What's the cost of living difference?
Real estate in Scottsdale is significantly higher. There's no doubt. If I was to put a number on it, I would say 3 to 5-fold. And it's going up, and it's not subject to change anytime soon. One thing about Arizona is our property taxes are extremely low compared to here. On our home, which was worth a lot more than this home, we were paying $1,800 a year.
Yeah, exactly.
$1,800 on a $900,000, $700,000, $800,000 home in that
Correct.
range?
That's right.
That is cheap.
It's one of the lower ones.
Yep. Cheers.
And then another interesting thing is we found the utilities here are very low. It's a pleasure. I mean, in the summer, it's not unusual to have a $800-900 a month electricity bill
in Arizona. I mean, I think we paid $90 and we've been running the air conditioner every day this summer because we like to keep it cool at night. But it was, consistently going up every summer. And I would say $300 was probably an average. So to see something under 100 is just huge.
And I think, Portland is cheaper than Arizona, but on that video of going to downtown Vancouver and talking to people, there was a guy that works for Portland Utility Company, or no, he worked for Vancouver Utility Company and lived down in Portland, and he was just talking about how economical the Vancouver government is relative. Like, we really run a tight budget for our utilities. We really want to make sure our taxpayers are getting the most bang for your buck. It's part of the reason that over 20,000 people migrated up from Portland to Vancouver in recent years, because there's just that cost difference of what are you getting for your tax money. Sure, Portland's been a really hip area to live, but people after COVID started asking themselves, what am I getting for my tax money? You hear that time and time again, that people feel like the quality of life difference in Vancouver is better from that tax perspective.
Absolutely.
And the state income tax, has that been a really nice, because Arizona has state income tax?
They do.
It does.
Drop that. Have you seen a big difference in your monthly budget or anything like that from that?
It helps. Yeah, it does help. It really does. Is it significant? Not majorly, but you know what? You certainly know you are not paying that state income tax, which is always a nice thing, absolutely.
Because Oregon's about 8.5% state income average, and Arizona was probably something similar.
Something like that, yeah.
That's nearly 10% of your budget. That, on 10,000, that's $1,000.
Yeah.
Makes a difference.
I think the other thing too is, we did live in North Scottsdale, which compared to the rest of the valley typically had higher prices. Across the board for whatever you paid. And I see here in Washington that I'm not paying any more than I had paid in Arizona. So, there's no I go to the store and there's a surprise or anything. So I think at least on kind of buying, normal things, everyday groceries and stuff like that, I don't see any, significant increase is what I'm trying to say, right?
Cool. That's good to know. And so the weather, we're going to get into the weather now. And down in Arizona, so Scottsdale, from what you were telling me, is obviously up in the mountains and is a bit different from Phoenix. You get
about
cold.
2,900 feet above the Phoenix area. So yes, it's 29 feet above the sea level. Yeah,
and
10 degrees cooler.
And you've actually been in the Pacific Northwest for nearly a year now from when you got the Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
So you've experienced all 4 seasons more or less.
We have.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you saying that you brought basically no coats with you when you moved, or you had very few.
I brought a nice coat. I did.
No, I suffered.
So has it been, I just had a buyer move up from Los Angeles, and she was driving around in the Macan with me, and she just said, turn your AC off. It's only 80 degrees. And I said, that's why the AC's on. Have you noticed that, the spring, was the winter severely cold for you guys, or how did you adjust to it?
It wasn't bad at all.
No. In fact, I was really surprised. We didn't bring a lot of clothes because we just came here waiting for the house to sell. So I relied on the one jacket, and I was surprised I was never cold. It was like, okay, you know what? I got this. It wasn't a big deal. And in fact, I started liking the fact that it wasn't so hot all the time. And I can honestly say that the summers are the best here. By far, the
No
best
doubt.
weather I have ever seen. To be able to go out in the middle of the day and just play with my dogs or do whatever I need to do, it's just great.
We don't want it to end.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, we have 2 more months, maybe.
Exactly.
Well, we just had that rainstorm that came through a couple days ago, a little bit of a summer rainstorm, and then we got a heat alert. I think 95. We're going to maybe hit 100 degrees tomorrow.
Which is nothing. Remember,
It's nothing.
the day before yesterday, Phoenix had a 120-year record high of 118 degrees.
Oh.
In the winter. This is wintertime. It should be cooler.
Wow.
So
The thing that people don't understand is, it hits 118 during the day, but remember, at night, it also doesn't cool down. So you don't get that. Oh,
it's like 100 degrees at night.
50 degrees or 60 degrees. No, it's still going to be like in the 90s.
Wow.
So
Well, let's talk about water really quickly, because we get a lot of rain here. So the rain difference, it's obviously dry in Scottsdale,
You
but
live in Scottsdale, you pray for rain.
you do.
You pray for monsoon
for rain.
season, and which
All the time.
they haven't had a monsoon season in probably 7 years. They call it non-soon now.
Mhm.
So if you get a day of rain, you're just so happy. So it's the opposite.
Sit outside in the middle of the summer and you just, let the rain fall on you. Because it really, after you go through 2, 3, 4 months of just heat, hot weather, sun, you want a break,
Relief.
But no longer the summers are bringing any type of rain.
so then how has the uptick in rain? You guys are getting a lot of days of rain up here. Has that been good, a bad, or a nice change of pace?
It's a nice change of pace.
Well, we haven't had much over the summer, but during the winter there was a lot. That took a little bit for me to get used to. But it's comfortable rain. It's not like it's freezing cold.
Right.
So
Have there been any major day-to-day changes from moving from Scottsdale to Vancouver?
absolutely.
Definitely for me, I used to always have to get up at what I used to call dark 30 in the summertime to do anything outside. So it usually, if it was on the weekend, I had to make sure I got up by like 4:30 or 5, because I knew that if I didn't get out and did something by 7, that it was going to be too hot. So now I get to sleep in a little bit on the weekend.
I second that too. So, my work schedule's different. So now I'm not having to get up as early. So that's a blessing. And then I'm able to, like you just mentioned, if we want to do things after work, you still have enough light where you can accommodate that.
We're going to get to a new question. Have there been any surprises about moving or settling in? I know fireworks was one of them, but...
Personal, let's see. I think at least I was a little surprised because 4th of July seemed to be kind of like a war zone. It started maybe about 8:30 at night, and it probably didn't end till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And it literally sounded like, rockets going off, guns going off. I mean, you name it. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? There's all these trees and farms, and aren't people afraid that they're going to burn stuff down? I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot.
I find the drivers to be pretty, for lack of a better word, daredevilish out here. They they're good at putting their blinkers on as they cut you off.
So how have you found the locals and the neighbors? I mean, you mentioned that people are a lot more easygoing and have their guard down.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Well, I know for both of us, we have two amazing neighbors on either side of us, and just couldn't be friendlier. Just, we just hang out sometimes and talk. And I think in Arizona, especially North Scottsdale, you do get a lot of winter visitors, snowbirds. So they tend to have maybe like their own little cliques. So they may come for 6 months and then they hang out with their little friends and then they go away. So you don't always get to know your neighbors as well. But here, we're here year round. So I think everyone has a little more vested interest to get to know who they're living next to, right?
And they're older. Yes, so in Arizona, we were the young ones.
Yes.
And we're not exactly young. So when you have all your neighbors in their mid-80s, and that's very different. Whereas we got a guy on the right from Seattle, works for Fisher. He's in his 30s. A couple who just moved from Longview over here. They're in their 30s. They both have children. Very nice, more laid back, not pretentious.
Correct.
What would you tell somebody if somebody's watching right now and you're considering the move from Arizona up to Vancouver? What would be something that you would tell them to prepare for or anticipate?
I just saw a thing on bankrate.com. They were saying more people from Arizona moving to Washington, Oregon than any other state. So you're going to end up here anyway. That's number one. Number two, just get used to the idea that you're going to go from extreme dry to a lot of wet, rainy weather in the winter. But you'll get over it. It's only just a few months, and then you have this beautiful, blissful weather. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great balance. I mean, I wish I would have done this a long time ago. Arizona, wages are stagnant. Cost of living is kind of weird. People are unusual. This is more of a livable lifestyle.
One thing I saw recently on national statistics is that there is, generally speaking, if you talk nationwide, a housing price adjustment happening. So I just found that interesting, and I think you guys experienced that too. You saw a little bit of a real estate dive happening in Scottsdale, correct?
Yeah, we sure did. We took a almost 20% loss in the sale of our home. I mean, you can look at Zillow's estimate and Redfin's and all that, and then you had comps done, but you put it out there and then nothing happens, crickets, and then you just keep lowering your price. And there's just, right now, there's so much inventory because so many people from states like California moved in there, never negotiated prices, raised the prices up tremendously, and then what happened is most of these people are now leaving. They decided COVID's over, I'm going back to sunny California. And so the home prices remain high, and people go, well, I'm moving to Arizona, I'm not going to pay that price. And between that and the inventory is enormous. I just saw one of the local real estate, the Crawford report, who said in Scottsdale, the average home now is on the market for 122 days.
Wow.
That's huge.
And we noticed in Vancouver when we were shopping that inventory is still pretty tight over here, especially when I'm tracking inventory compared to nationwide numbers. So some people will call and ask, hey, Tim, how's the market up here? And it is a little bit of I wouldn't say a night and day. We're still in a little bit of a balanced market where things aren't flying off the shelf overnight. But there was very much a little bit more of that demand you saw from buyers. Was that your experience?
It was. I mean, when we came in, we were looking at homes with you. You remember, we look at a house and then it was off the market.
Exactly.
Or
we had to compete. I mean, we looked at 2 homes here in Vancouver, one that we put an offer on, but we were contingent, so we were at the bottom of the barrel. And of course, we didn't get that home. But it worked out because we got this home and we made it our own, so we're very happy.
Yeah. And your process was, for anybody watching, was that you guys had moved over and you were doing a month-to-month Airbnb. which I highly suggest because it gave you both a really good ability to time your jump and sort of get used to the area. But you were also selling contingent on a home down in Scottsdale, which does make it makes it a slightly more stressful transaction, I felt. What part of moving was better than expected or better than anticipated?
Well, Tim made it a lot easier. And we say, I mean, going back at the sale of our home in Scottsdale, because when you have a real estate agent who only wants to sell the $4 or $5 million homes, and you have a home that's under $1 million, you don't get the attention that you want. We always say, if Tim was selling our Scottsdale home, we would have been established here a lot sooner. So the big plus with moving here was having Tim.
Absolutely.
Because we could have never done it without him.
Nope.
I found him online, and I knew he was charismatic and he was professional, and he knew his stuff.
And highly networked with.
Oh, absolutely. And you need someone young and gregarious to get the job done, who knows how to negotiate deals and to work with both buyers and sellers. And I wish he was in Scottsdale.
To sell our house in Scottsdale. So
yeah, we bring it up all the time.
I
really appreciate that. They're both getting paid $100 each.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
It is.
Well, so we didn't know each other when you had the listing process happening in Scottsdale, but for anybody watching that might be thinking of making the move, I know a really good agent down there that's young, hungry, and ready to get after it. And you guys didn't have, it was an experience. We won't get into the negatives of your experience down there, but if you're trying to avoid one where you really want to get to a good agent that's going to work for you, I've got a big network of real estate agents all over the nation, and I can help make sure that you're plugging in with the right people. Obviously, it goes the same way if you're thinking about moving up here and you want an experience like Rivak and Nanci. I'm here to help you. Just give me a phone call, a text, an email, a Zoom call. I'm here to have a safe conversation. And we met for coffee. I still remember you reached out and you found me on YouTube, but do you remember which specific YouTube video it was?
I watched so many, I can't remember.
I remember it was the one with your lab.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, he is the
one. Yeah. It was a joy to really help you guys get into this home. It was really fun to work alongside you guys. And
he has a really good eye for Christopher Walken showers. Don't forget that.
Well, thanks for watching this week's video. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we wrap it up?
No, we just really appreciate you.
Yeah.
And anyone that doesn't use them, you're missing out. Yeah. Not only is he a good realtor, he's a good friend.
Good person.
And you need someone on your side like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to answer all these questions for people thinking about making a move. If you're watching this video, you can go ahead and watch this video next. It's going to give you a good idea of what it's like moving up here. Feel free to subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you next week.
Awesome.
Yay.
It was great.
I'll give you some good views.